It also depends on your willingness to communicate with a wide variety of people who have varied experiences and beliefs, which may not be similar to your own experiences and beliefs. As a correspondent, you will be an essential element in the Edge broadcast search for truth. Just click "We are looking for Edge correspondents" just under the main media player on the Edge's homepage at www.theedgeam.com.
Welcome back, I'm Andy Radford in the Edge's UK studio and you're listening to Edge Thursday Reports. Have you had a look around the Edge's website yet at www.theedgeam.com and had a browse at all the great things we have for you to do? We've got Edgepedia. This is where we're trying to build a database of all the subject matter the Edge covers. Now that's from political, right through conspiracy theories, up to the unexplained, religion and all spiritual matters. We have a number of channels on the go now. This is the UK studio channel, which you're listening to now. There's Daniel Ott's main channel, where he hosts a live show every night, and Spiritually Speaking, hosted by Larry Catt. This airs on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Coming up in the near future, we have the new Woman's Channel, which will be hosted by Jamie Ott. Take a look at the Edge's news page also. Here, Edge Correspondents posts articles every single day of current news events. And if you have any information you want to send us, any news that you want to get to the wider public, just go to the news page, and on the top left-hand corner you will see the link News Hotline. Now, if you click this, you'll be able to send an email direct to the editorial news desk. If you would like to get in touch with any of the Edge correspondents, just go to the homepage, www.theedgeam.com, and at the bottom you will see the link Edge Correspondence. If you click this, the Edge correspondents' bios and blogs will appear, and here you'll be able to email them and send them information or suggest some subjects you might want them to cover. Torture is indicative of regimes that wield authoritarian control over neighbouring states. If left unchecked by a population, this form of control is slowly turned against the population the governments are supposed to be looking after. This has been proved time and time again across the world. In the West, we are used to condemning tin pot dictators who use these methods, yet when it's our own governments guilty of these acts, most that condemn like to turn a blind eye, or live with the false belief that their whiter-than-white nation would not dare do such a thing. The fact is, these whiter-than-white Western nations deal in torture just as despicable as those tin pot dictators we love to condemn the world over. We are no better than them if we allow this to continue. Of course, the whiter-than-white Western nations aren't the only people that deal the hand of torture. This happens in communist regimes, capitalist regimes, fascist regimes, and Islamic regimes. In fact, it is happening the world over. Here is Thursday Report's special presentation entitled Say No to Torture. From ancient Rome's red-hot irons and lacerating hooks to medieval Europe's thumbscrews, rack and wheel, for over 2,000 years anyone interrogated in a court of law could expect to suffer unspeakable tortures. For the last 200 years, humanist intellectuals from Voltaire to members of Amnesty International have led a sustained campaign against the horrors of state-sponsored cruelty, culminating in the United Nations 1985 Convention Against Torture, ratified by the Clinton administration in 1994. Then came 9/11, when the Twin Towers collapsed, killing thousands. Influential pro-pain pundits promptly repudiated those Enlightenment ideals and began publicly discussing whether torture might be an appropriate, even necessary weapon in George Bush's war on terror. The most persuasive among them, Harvard academic Alan M. Dershowitz, advocated giving courts the right to issue torture warrants, ensuring that needed information could be prized from unwilling Arab subjects with steel needles. Despite torture's appeal as a lesser evil, a necessary expedient in dangerous times, those who favour it ignore its recent problematic history in America. They also seem ignorant of a perverse pathology that allows the practice of torture, once begun, to spread uncontrollably in crisis situations, destroying the legitimacy of the perpetrator nation. As past perpetrators could have told today's pundits, torture plumbs the recesses of human consciousness, unleashing an unfathomable capacity for cruelty as well as seductive illusions of potency. Even as pundits and professors fantasized about limited surgical torture, the Bush administration, following the president's orders to kick some ass, was testing and disproving their theories by secretly sanctioning brutal interrogation that spread quickly from use against a few high target value Al-Qaeda suspects to scores of ordinary Afghans and hundreds of innocent Iraqis. As we learn from France's battles for Algiers in the 1950s, Argentina's dirty war in the 1970s, and Britain's Northern Ireland conflict in the 1970s, a nation that harbours torture in defiance of